right now. Pittsburgh's best sports show is about to begin. Call us or tweet us. We've got things to talk about on the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call.
All right, thanks for tuning in to the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call. I'm Rich Walsh. I'll be joined by Chris Mueller in a matter of moments over to 93.7 The Fan Cam. Tough night in Pittsburgh for the Pitt volleyball team, who loses in the Final Four for the fourth straight year. Great season. They were 33-1 up to this point, and then lose a tough one here. They won the first set, but the second set got away from them, and then the third set was really the turning point, I think, in this game, losing that in extras, 29-27. And then the fourth set, they weren't even close. It's tough. You know, I don't want to complain about this. They had a great season. But, Chris, I feel like, you know, you shouldn't have to play the home team in the Final Four. The whole place was red. I feel like that was definitely an advantage to Louisville.
Excuses.
I know. I like to make excuses. I'm a Pitt guy. That's what I do.
If they didn't win it all, I said it was going to be a huge disappointment given the season they'd had and the expectations placed upon them. I think this was the year for them, and they did not shut the door. They did not show a killer instinct. Didn't close out the second set when they could have done so, and then really didn't close out the third set. And then the fact that Anna DeBeer, the best player on Louisville, their outside hitter, their star, goes down with an ankle, and Pitt not only can't capitalize, but just completely falls apart after that point when maybe they had a window to get back in it. They picked a bad time to have a very big-time stinker of a performance, which is really what this was from the end of the second set on. So I'm going to stick to my guns here. I'll congratulate them for having a heck of a season, but it is absolutely a huge disappointment that they not only didn't finish the job, but didn't even get to the national title match.
So, I mean, look, the grass isn't always greener on the other side. And, I mean, I guess we should just be happy that they make it to the Final Four just about every year now.
They've beaten Louisville twice in the regular season, too. So that makes it even worse. I guess the old adage about it's tough to beat a team 3 times in one season from football also happens to carry over to women's volleyball.
Yeah, I guess I totally understand what you're saying. I guess it would be comparable to if the Steelers win the division on Saturday and then get a home playoff game and then lose again in the playoffs in the first round.
It'll feel somewhat similar, yeah. I mean, Pitt, in balance, is more successful right now within their sport and more well-regarded within their sport as one of the true handful of powerhouses than the Steelers are in football. But, yeah, a lot of similarities there. When you've had as much success as Pitt has, now you start measuring it in national championships, not in Final Four appearances. I mean, if you want to keep it in the Pitt family, it would be in an alternate universe where Jamie Dixon somehow reaches like 5 straight Final Fours or something like that,
yeah,
and Pitt just keeps going down in flames in the national semifinals, it would feel like the exact same thing. At some point, you've got to become, you know, the top dog there, and this is going to be another year where Pitt has to reflect on not having been able to do that, and now it's try to circle the wagons back for next year, which, listen, very good chance that they will do exactly that. This is a program that still looks like it has a lot of staying power, but you know, I'm disappointed. I watched the matches. I know a lot of people did, and got that special kind of frustrated feeling that you can only get when you really do expect a team to be the champ and they don't deliver on expectations. So that's how I felt about it, at least. I suspect a lot of people that watched felt the same way.
And the frustration you can only get as a Pitt fan. Pitt has pitted, as other people like to say. I saw a funny meme on Twitter today. I had to chuckle. It said, Pitt volleyball, Dan Fisher, and then I don't know who posted it. It was just on my Twitter feed or X feed or whatever you want to call it, and it was James Franklin picture of him losing to Michigan. I just thought it was pretty funny.
They played like James Franklin was coaching them tonight. They didn't handle their business in a big game.
Yep.
Perhaps, Richie, would you like to speculate? We've got the Penn State fans all mad at us now on 93.7. We're being so grossly unfair to them, talking about the fact that they seem to be having trouble getting people to come to this game, that the get-in price is way lower than it is in other stadiums, that some of these, there could be swaths of empty seats. That all seems to be stuff that's reasonable and possible. The anti-Penn State stuff, I would say, comes from me when I say that I would really, 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 really love to see SMU beat them in this game, and I think SMU's got a real chance. Like, the idea that some Penn State fans are saying, oh, I'm not going to go to this game, I'll save my money for the college football playoff semifinal round or whatever, or quarterfinal round, whatever. I'm getting the numbers mixed up here, Richie. Well, the fact that people are saying I'll wait for later games, I don't know if I would do that if I were a Penn State fan. A lot of team speed on SMU, and I think a lot of reasons to be nervous if you're a Penn State fan about this game.
Oh, we saw what SMU did to Pitt. I'm not comparing Pitt to Penn State. Penn State's much better. But, yeah, SMU could very well win this game, and I wouldn't save your money either. I don't understand why they can't sell out. And I'll say it since you probably can't. But, yeah, 93.7 The Fan is a Pitt station. I mean, come on. I mean, Penn State fans shouldn't expense.
I can say it. 93.7 The Fan is a Pitt station, and I am the ultimate Benedict Arnold traitor as a guy who went to Penn State and never rooted one day in his life for the football team. I am leading the charge. I will be the face of the villain here. If those people would like to have an avatar for everything about our coverage or lack thereof of Penn State that they dislike, hello, it's me, the big-headed bald guy. Yes, I'm that guy. Class of 07. We are not attending this game, apparently.
Are we watching the game at least? So you're not going to root for Penn State even though you're an alum?
I will root very hard for SMU.
Okay.
I will possibly, if I had the chance to get like an Eric Dickerson or a Craig James jersey from the old death penalty era SMU Pony Express backfield, I would wear that. Absolutely not. I would not root for Penn State in a million years. In fact, I was trying to figure out who that's actually in the playoff field would compel me to root for Penn State, and the only one I could even squint at maybe is Notre Dame. But even then, I think I would just say, hands off on this one.
An Eric Dickerson jersey would look tremendous, an SMU one, on you during this show. Penn State has, on paper, an easy route, you would think, through this, maybe an easier one, but it's never easy.
Richie, I don't buy that at all.
You don't?
I just said why I think SMU is going to be tough for them because of the just collective team speed there. Kevin Jennings is really good. Their back is very good. Their main running back, whose last name is eluding me, but Brashard Smith, I want to say, or whatever it is, guy who was running wild over Pitt. I think that they have a lot of problems that they could present for Penn State. Quite honestly, you don't see that level of team speed too often in the Big Ten outside of maybe Ohio State or sometimes Penn State. Penn State should be good in the trenches. Carter should be able to really get a pass rush going. But again, I just think it's a tough matchup for them. And then I think Boise State could be a massive problem for Penn State. Like, people are acting like that game will be a walkover if Penn State does beat SMU. Hello? Boise State played Oregon basically to a draw and lost to them by 3 points. That's their only loss. That wouldn't be a team that I'd be taking lightly, not with just Mr. Casual Ashton Genty standing there still at the snap before he's going to break 18 tackles and run through your whole team.
And this is our GMC Tweet of the Night. Dan Fisher, National Coach of the Year, so congratulations to him. Tough one for the Pitt volleyball team here tonight, losing in 4 sets to Louisville to end their run at a national championship. All right, now we're going to move on to the Steelers. TJ Watt's playing, George Pickens isn't playing, and we're going to get right out to the phone calls. We got Dave out in Moon. How you doing, Dave?
I'm doing fine. I'd like to point out something. Since Pitt won the national championship in football in 1976, your sports teams have won a combined 0 national championships. Since 1976, Penn State sports teams have won a combined 22. That's 22 national championships. One school knows how to win national championships, and one school doesn't.
Dave, I don't really know exactly. I know there's been a ton of national champions, like in track, individual ones. I know you mentioned team. I know there's been wrestlers that won national championships. I don't know. I'm going to take you for at your word.
The women's volleyball team under Russ Rose had like a 105-match winning streak. They were a dynastic team. The wrestling team with Cale Sanderson has been elite. These are Olympic sports. I know women's volleyball, very big in popularity. I know people care about these sports. When was the last Penn State football national title, which is, of course, what Dave is really trying to brag on here, that it's not just a school full of winners, but Pitt hasn't won anything. True. I believe, the last undisputed Penn State national title, 1986, I want to say, against Miami.
Miami game. They should have won it in '94. They got robbed. Nebraska. I thought they
Nebraska
were the better
would
team.
have absolutely no.
You don't think?
No. Nebraska would have absolutely rinsed them for a national title had they played a 1-versus-2 game there. Penn State fans might be in denial about that, but I know the truth as an official Nebraska fan of the mid-'90s. they would have slapped Penn State around in spectacular fashion. Thank you very much.
All right, let's go out to Will on McKees Rocks. How you doing, Will?
Hey, guys. How are you tonight?
Good, thanks for calling.
Hey, thanks for taking my call, and happy holidays to you and your family.
You too.
Oh, thank you so much. Hey, I have a Steelers question for you both. With them playing 3 games in 11 days, does that really tax them more physically or more mentally?
Well, I think more physically. Will.
Physically.
I mean, yeah, I mean, right, physically. I mean, the one thing maybe
chess,
mentally.
Will. They're not playing 3 matches in chess or 3 chess matches. They are going out there having 60 car crash plays a game. It is a physical taxation, not a mental one.
But they're not even working on Kansas City until Sunday night. I mean, that's a quick turn until Sunday. That's a quick turnaround. I mean, and you only really have a couple days to prepare for Kansas City.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's where you go back to the rudiments and you just try to say we're going to make this as simplistic. Not simplistic a game plan, that's not the right word, but we're going to do the things we're comfortable doing. And the one thing I would say about that game on paper is I know Mahomes is going to play. He hasn't been himself. The times we've seen Patrick Mahomes actually look like a mortal have been when his tackles are just really banged up and he's a little gimpy. And even though he's going to play, I think basically both of those conditions apply. They'll get him at home. Like, I actually think that the Steelers can heat him up in that game and get to him. And then I think it's an all bets are off situation if that comes to pass. Like, I know this sounds crazy because I'm usually leading the charge of don't count out the Chiefs until you've actually driven the stake through their heart. But that game, at the very least, does seem winnable to me right now. I've waited all season for them to look like the Chiefs. And it just doesn't seem that team is in there this year necessarily. Yeah,
I don't have a good feeling about this game, but I think this is the game they absolutely need to win. They could just basically clinch. I mean, they will win the division, but they would pretty much wrap up that 3rd seed, too, if they win this one and not have much to play for and get healthy the last 2 games. I don't think it's going to go their way in Baltimore, though.
I think T.J. Watt playing makes me feel better about it, but what's their offense going to show you with no George Pickens? And then kind of an extension off of that thought is we've given Omar Khan, generally speaking, I think a lot of credit for the way he and Andy Weidel have gone about trying to reshape and remake this roster. But how good of a job have they done on the offensive side of the ball if everyone seems to be, or the majority of the population seems to be in general agreement that take away George Pickens and the whole house of cards comes tumbling down? Like, is your team really that good if one guy's absence, and it's not the quarterback, is actually going to make them look that much more, impotent on that side of the ball? I mean, the Steelers are the rare team who could probably more easily afford to lose their starting quarterback than their number 1 wide receiver. It's usually not supposed to go that way in the NFL.
Yeah, and if he's that important to the offense, what are you going to do? You're going to pay him $30 million? That's another big question. Let's go out to Jim in Penn Hills. How you doing, Jim?
Hello, gentlemen, and Malsey, great job last night. I'm going to go back in history before you were both born. Back before the 70s, Pittsburgh was known as the city of losers. That moniker has returned. I hope the fans here enjoyed the 2017 Stanley Cup because it's the last time a Pittsburgh sports team is going to ever play for or win a title.
Ever?
I guess Jim doesn't have Bucko fever. Hey, a couple years, if they do things right, Paul Skeens, let's go.
Tradition.
Man, Jim, you're making a bold claim. You're saying that the heat death of the universe in 5.6 billion years is going to come and go, and there's going to be Ron Cook covering it saying, I thought we'd see one before now, but I guess not.
Chris, who has a better shot at winning a championship here maybe in the next 5 years? I don't think it's as doom and gloom as Jim just said. Look, I'm not going to say I have no faith in the Pirates. I think they can be competitive. Winning a World Series is tough, especially in this climate in baseball. So I would still lean towards the Steelers being the next professional team to win a championship.
Of the pro teams, it's the Steelers. The Penguins would need to get on an insane hot goalie tear in the playoffs. That doesn't really seem imminent. I just refuse to give the Pirates any grace or benefit of the doubt on this particular subject until they give me a reason to do so. The Steelers are quietly, yes, I just said their offense is maybe not as well constructed yet as we think, but I still think they're headed on the right direction, or in the right direction, on the right trajectory. And if they get a little bit more roster building done and then either find a new quarterback or Russ elevates his play to a level still that we haven't yet seen this year, they can absolutely challenge for one. I mean, I shouldn't even discount them this year. I don't think they're going to do it. I wouldn't bet on them even if I thought I was getting good odds, because I do think there are too many good teams at the top of each conference. But they could get on a run and with a little luck absolutely make things interesting this year. Although I think even as I say that out loud, Richie, probably most of the viewers and listeners right now don't agree with me.
Yeah, I mean, maybe you could see a 2005 if they do get hot, but they could potentially go the other way and lose these next 3 games and go into the playoffs limping at 4 straight losses. Chris, we don't have a lot of time here, less than a minute. Just wrap things up. I want to get your prediction, but I want to say first, I think this is a must-win for the Steelers. I really do. That's the feeling I have, because I think they potentially could lose to the Chiefs. They're not good on short weeks. And then who knows what the Bengals have to play for. They're still kind of in this thing, and you could see the Steelers potentially and the Bengals, the Steelers playing for a division, the Bengals playing to get in the playoffs in that last game.
Richie, have the Steelers qualified for the playoffs, yes or no?
Yes.
Then it is by definition not a must-win for them. I'd like to see them win, but they could very well win the division still by losing this game and then winning the next 2. In fact, I think if they do that, they will win the division, unless I'm completely insane. I might be insane, but I think that's how it would work.
Yeah.
I don't think they're going to win, though. I got 21-16 Baltimore gets the drop on them. Congratulations to Cameron Dicker for having a 57-yard free kick field goal in tonight's game. I can't remember the last time one of those actually happened.